Welcome dear students. This is the course, elective course, Elect Agron 311 Agricultural Waste Management of your BSc Agriculture program in 5th semester. Now I am starting Unit 2 and this is the first lecture of Unit 2, which is based on the decomposition of organic waste. If you see your syllabus, the first topic of Unit 2 is biological management of agricultural waste. So this decomposition of organic waste is a part of biological management. Here in this lecture we will discuss the meaning of decomposition. We will also understand the process of decomposition. Here in this lecture we will understand this process in short. And in the decomposition process, or after the decomposition process, the end product is end product is compost. So what compost does? Compost just provide nutrients to your crop, and sometimes this nutrient is fixed and not available to your crop, and this process is done by the microorganism. So this decomposition process results mineralization and immobilization. Types of decomposition also will be discussed in this lecture, and the summary of the decomposition process according to the type that I will explain you in this, not explain, I will just summarize this process here. And there will be a separate lectures for each process of the decomposition. So what is decomposition? This is to be understood. Decomposition is a way of biological process of waste management. So our motto is the waste management. Waste means agricultural waste management, because agricultural waste is organic in nature, so it can be managed by the biological process, and decomposition is a method by which we can manage our agricultural waste biologically. So this is to be understood very clearly. We have to understand the decomposition. So decomposition is a breakdown of dead plants and animal materials and release the inorganic nutrients. I am saying that the agricultural waste is the organic in nature. Organic in nature means it has hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons and nitrogen in organic form. These are the complex things. And when we have a dead plant materials or waste plant materials, we have dead animal materials, it is complex in nature. Their nutrients which are present in these dead material, they are complex in nature and it is not available to the crop. It is not in mineralized form. Our crop take nutrients from the soil in inorganic form. So these nutrients which is available in the dead material, it is to be mineralized. So this complex material, this complex organic material, it should be break down. When it will be break down, and the nutrients which are present in these materials in complex form, it should be released in inorganic form and in a simple form, so that these nutrients can be available to our growing plant or to our crops. So this breakdown process is decomposition. Again we can say decomposition is important in releasing the nutrients tied up in the dead organic matter and return it back to the soil, because this organic matter which is produced through our agriculture, it takes nutrients from the soil and it is tied with the plant and it is in complex form. When these plants are dead, nutrients are tied with these dead material in complex form. So this decomposition, it is important to release that nutrients. So how it release? It is the dead material is decomposed and there is tied nutrients with organic matter. It is converted into the simple or inorganic form and it is returned back to the soil. So this is a part of nutrient cycle, we can say. This is a part of nutrient cycle. So breakdown or decomposition, we have understood this, but how this process occurs? So this process occurs biologically, and if it is occurs biologically, it means some biological agents are involved. So this is a biological background. Decomposition is a biological breakdown and biochemical transformation, because the nutrients are present in organic form. Then when it transforms to the simpler form, so it is a biochemical transformation of complex organic molecules of dead material into simpler organic and inorganic molecules. So this is a breakdown, biological breakdown. It is a biochemical reaction. A chain of biochemical reaction occurs in this, through which these complex organic molecules, first it is converted into the simpler organic molecules, then it is converted into the inorganic molecules. This way this decomposition process occurs. It is a biological process. So some biological agents are available, some biological agents are involved in this breakdown. These biological agents are bacteria, fungi, molds, protozoa, actinomycetes and saprophytes. So these are the microorganisms which are present. You know, actinomycetes is also a type of bacteria. Saprophytes are the organisms which cannot live freely, so they are dependent on any other material, any other dead organic material. So these organisms, their population increases, and these agents, bacteria, fungi, molds, protozoa, actinomycetes and saprophytes, these organisms, they feed on that dead plant material or dead animal material. So these microorganisms feed on it. So they take their food from these dead materials and they break down these organic materials into the compost. So last end product is compost. So this is one decomposing agents, bacteria, fungi, these are the microorganisms. Actually they work. Another is a soil fauna. In soil fauna, earthworm and arthropods. Arthropods are insects. Earthworm also decompose it. So earthworm, they eat, they feed on this. So if we do this decomposition of organic matter, the end product is vermicompost. That is a different process. If earthworm is available with this decomposition, biological or bacterial decomposition, microorganisms decomposition, then earthworm also works simultaneously, and earthworm enrich the compost by feeding over it. Arthropods means insects or even ants. What ants did, they just transfer the phosphorus and potash from one place to the another place in a lot of compost and just enrich it. So these arthropods, insects, worms, mites, spider, termites, these things, they are the agents which enrich. They either help in the process of decomposition or they enrich the decomposed compost. So the fauna and this microorganisms, they work over it and they break down our complex organic material through biochemical reaction and they convert it into compost. So this is a layout of composting process. when we do our agriculture and we produce the crop, we take the economic part of crop and crop residue is left. These crop residue goes under decomposition, and after the decomposition, what I am saying, the residue has the organic material in a complex form, or the nutrients are present in organic form which are tied with the plant material. So it is decomposed, and first it is converted into simpler organic form. So when it is converted into simpler organic form, see, these, after the decomposition of crop residue, the nutrients which are available there until it will mineralize in inorganic form, it will not be available to the crop. So first the complex material is converted into humus, means into simpler organic form. Then it is immobilized. Immobilized means it is converted into simple form, but again because it is not mineralized, so this will not be available to the plant, and the microbes which will work over it, they will utilize it, and these microbes again converted it into protein and polysaccharides. These protein and polysaccharides are added into soil and improve the soil structure, and again microbes work over it and they mineralize it. When these microbes mineralize it, it is converted into nutrients, and these nutrients are available to the crop. Again crop will give you crop residue, and again the decomposition process will continue, passing through humus, immobilization, protein and simpler protein. These, because it is a microbial protein, so it is a simpler form of protein, it will mineralize very easily, and it is available to the plant and crop is produced. These nutrients are also used by the microorganism and soil biota. For the process of decomposition of crop residue, microbes are required. So these microbes, they work over it. The microbes work over it on crop residue, they decompose it and convert it into human. The microbes are involved in up to the mineralization process. These microbes take oxygen. So these microbes takes oxygen from the atmosphere in gaseous form. They release carbon dioxide and water. These carbon dioxide, these microbes, they take oxygen from the atmosphere, feed over decomposition, feed over crop residue. In the process of decomposition, they release carbon dioxide and water. These carbon dioxide and water is utilized by the crop, and with the process which nutrients is released in compost, which is mineralized, these nutrients are also utilized by the crop, and again crop is produced and residue is also produced. So this cycle goes like this. So this is a process. First it is assimilation. Assimilation means conversion of substrate material into protoplasmic material. Substrate material means the organic material, that is substrate for the microorganisms which will feed over it, and they will convert it into protoplasmic material. It means organic carbon is converted to microbial carbon. Protein is converted to microbial protein, that I have shown you here. Through the process of humus and immobilization, it is converted into microbial protein and microbial carbohydrate. So this is microbial carbon and microbial protein, it is converted. Then mineralization occurs. In the second process, in mineralization, conversion of organic substrate into inorganic form. In this process, this is the second phase of decomposition, or in the second phase of compost formation. Here the organic substrate which are in assimilation, complex organic substrate is converted into simpler form. In mineralization, this simpler form is converted into inorganic form, means organic matter protein is converted into organic nitrogen, and this is added into the soil. This organic nitrogen which is added into the soil, I told you, again microorganisms utilize it and again it immobilize. So this is immobilization. Immobilization means conversion of inorganic into organic form. So again this inorganic means released nitrogen, again it is converted into organic form. So it is immobilized. Now it will not be available to the plant. But microbes are present there and it is converted into the microbial form of microbial protein and microbial carbon, which are simple organic matter, which again can be mineralized very quickly. Means inorganic nitrogen from the soil converted into microbial protein. So this process occurs both ways. First is the decomposition, where it is converted into humus, and from humus it is converted into simpler or microbial nitrogen and microbial carbon. Then as it is required, this process occurs both ways. So organic carbon is converted into inorganic carbon, then again or organic nitrogen converted into inorganic nitrogen, and again inorganic nitrogen is converted into organic nitrogen. So both way this process occurs, and immobilization is the reverse of mineralization. So mineralization occurs, immobilization occurs as it is required by the plant, and it is the demand of the microbes present in the soil. Organic nitrogen is converted into inorganic nitrogen, inorganic nitrogen is converted into organic nitrogen. So this process occurs both ways, and this process, mineralization and immobilization, all the time it occurs in the soil if there is a good amount of organic carbon and if there is a good amount of microbial population in the soil. Type of decomposition, it is important because here I told you this process, this is a very general process of decomposition. This process comes under aerobic decomposition because oxygen is utilized. If you have crop residue, that is organic matter, and if oxygen is not available, still microorganisms will work there and the decomposition process occurs. But at that time here oxygen is not available, so it will utilize the oxygen which is bound with the crop residue in form of complex organic matter. They also consume on hydrogen and they release methane. So that becomes anaerobic process. So that's way when we want to understand the decomposition, the process of decomposition in detail we will study in next lecture, because there are two types of decomposition and the process in both type of decomposition is different. So we have to study the both process separately. One is aerobic decomposition. Aerobic decomposition means respiration. I have written in bracket. This is respiration for the microorganism, because actually microorganisms are not doing decomposition of the waste material for you, because actually microorganisms, they have to survive and they live over it. So for the survival of microorganisms, they respire, and for their respiration they take oxygen from the atmosphere, and for the survival of microorganisms they need some food also. As we need food, our plant needs nutrients or minerals. These microorganisms, they also need some food. So this dead material is a food for the microorganism. Class of microorganisms I have told you. So they feed over it, take oxygen from the atmosphere and do the respiration. That's why carbon dioxide and water is generated. And because they feed on the complex organic material and they convert it into simpler organic form and then mineralize it into inorganic form. So that's why this is a process of respiration, but this respiration means respiration for the microorganism, not for you. When organic material decomposes in presence of oxygen, because oxygen is available, only then respiration can occur. The process is called aerobic, and the aerobic process is the most common in nature. Aerobic process is most common in nature. So in village, whatever the decomposition the farmers do for the preparation of compost or preparation of farmyard manure, the process is basically aerobic. Next is anaerobic process. Anaerobic means aerobic means presence of air. Ana means N means no air. It means anaerobic process. So anaerobic decomposition means fermentation. Here our organic waste rots, and it is because of the rotting, bad odor is also associated with anaerobic decomposition. This bad odor is not associated with the aerobic decomposition, but this bad odor and the environmental pollution also, it is associated with anaerobic decomposition. So it occurs in the absence of gaseous oxygen. Gaseous oxygen means the microbes cannot take oxygen from the atmosphere, but the little amount of oxygen which is required, they take from the oxygen which is bind with the carbohydrate in a complex form associated with the waste. They take oxygen from there. In aerobic decomposition, water is also released, but in anaerobic decomposition they consume hydrogen, and some amount of hydrogen they release. Here in anaerobic decomposition, hydrogen sulfide is also released, but the release of hydrogen sulfide is very trace. It is released in lesser amount. In aerobic decomposition, when microbes take oxygen, they release carbon dioxide, but here they don't take oxygen. It is in absence of oxygen. So what they release, because microorganisms they are to survive, they do a fermentation for their survival, so they release methane. That's why I am saying this bad odor and this environmental pollution problem is associated with the anaerobic decomposition, because methane is a greenhouse gas, hydrogen sulfide is a greenhouse gas. And in nature, this process takes place in the decomposition of organic mud at the bottom of the marshes and in buried organic material to which oxygen does not have access. तो वहाँ पे जो नीचे दब गया है, मिट्टी के नीचे या कीचड़ के नीचे जो वेस्ट दब गया है, यहाँ पे ऑक्सीजन नहीं पहुँच सकती, वहाँ पे एनारोबिक डिकम्पोजिशन होगा ही होगा. If you remember my last lecture where I told you, if wet organic waste is dumped in open yard, both aerobic and anaerobic decomposition occur simultaneously. Because aerobic decomposition occurs on the surface, but below the surface in the deep of the heap, oxygen cannot reach and anaerobic decomposition starts. So for the aerobic decomposition, this acidogenic bacteria, they work in both cases, aerobic and anaerobic decomposition, because first these is complex organic matter is converted into simpler form of volatile fatty acids and acetates. So these fats are converted into acetate, then these volatile fatty acids. If the process is aerobic, these acidogenic bacteria will work further, and this volatile fatty acid is converted into acetic acid, carbon dioxide and hydrogen. But if process is methanogenic, the volatile fatty acid or acetate, which is converted from complex organic matter to the, this is a intermediate stage that acetates are converted, then methogenic bacteria will work, because methogenic bacteria can work in absence of oxygen. So they generate methane, carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide, H2S, and they also consume hydrogen rather than generating it. So there are the two type of process, acidogenic and methogenic process. It occurs in process of decomposition. The process of decomposition are of two type: aerobic decomposition and anaerobic decomposition. Aerobic decomposition is also known as respiration. It happens in presence of oxygen. Anaerobic decomposition is also known as fermentation. It happens in absence of oxygen. So this is the summary of both process, aerobic and anaerobic process. This is the just layout and schematic summary. We have organic matter. If it is anaerobic digestion, this organic matter is digested by the microorganism in presence of oxygen. In presence of oxygen, methogenic bacteria can work. So they release biogas, mainly methane. So biogas is a combination of methane, carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. This methane is the igneous gas. So this can be used in combustion. And the remaining part, remaining slurry or remaining part is known as digestate, because it is digested by microorganism. So this digestate, it is a remaining part where the complex organic matter is already converted into mineralized form. So this can be used to our field as a manure. If it is aerobic decomposition, so it is known as composting. Here we have organic matter. Here you are seeing that it is anaerobic condition. Here air is not present. Here organic matter and air is present in the air, oxygen is present in the air. So this air is utilized by the microorganisms for the composting of organic matter. They release carbon dioxide and heat also, and the leftover part is compost, and this compost is a good organic matter which we can use in our field, because they have mineral nutrients in mineralized form. So this is the process of waste management by biological process. Here we have understood that agricultural waste, that is organic waste in nature, it can be decomposed in two ways, aerobic and anaerobic. These two ways we can decompose it. This is the reference which you can read further: decomposition of organic material into high value compost for sustainable crop productivity. This is a chapter in a book, Biocomposting Oil Palm Waste for Improvement of Soil Fertility. This is a book written by Maheshwari D.K. Dhiman S. and Agarwal M. in 2014. Thank you very much.